Peter, let's talk about this announcement yesterday that the Prime Minister mentioned that some 12,000 safe haven visas will be issued to Hong Kongers. What sort of economic flow-on effect could that have?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Pete. You know, China takes 30% of our exports, and that's about 6.7% of GDP. And so the Prime Minister is clearly gambling that the retribution from China will not be serious enough to make this decision a silly one. And I've got to say, you know, the Hong Kong immigrant is probably one of the best. You know, they're capital rich, they're filled with expertise. They're the kind of immigrant that will want to buy high-end apartments. And I've always believed that the best export of all are high-end apartments in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane sold to foreigners, because it's an export that doesn't leave the country. It stays here and it creates jobs and all that sort of stuff. And I think the Prime Minister is also thinking, well, you know, we aren't going to have Chinese tourists in this country for at least a year, maybe even more. And we're going to have to rely on a lot more internal demand. You know, when you think about tourism, will be mainly internal tourism. And I just think that this is a kind of a gamble that he's taking, which is probably worthwhile doing.
Now, Afterpay. We've talked about this many, many times before, Pete. Yeah. It is. We've in fact said this thing could be going to $100. It's now 73. Yeah. Just a few weeks ago, what was it, 30 or 40, 50, whatever it was.
Well, at March 23, it was $9. And when I tried to get on, my computer completely froze. I think a lot of other people were trying to get on as well. But I've always thought this is like a $35 to $50 stock. Yeah. It's just keep defying expectations.
So is it overpriced, or is it going to keep heading north?
Well, put it this way, Morgan Stanley put out a prediction yesterday. They think it's going to be a $101 stock. And Pete, what happens is, as a stock becomes bigger and bigger, fund managers effectively have to buy it. Like if you're buying the ETF for the ASX 200 index, you have to have Afterpay. So it becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the analysts do believe this is a company that has lots of legs. And I've got to say, I've always kicked myself. I taught Anthony Eisen, one of the founders of the company, and I was always worried that the Credit Act might come back to bite these guys. But it's continued as a company to do well, doing well in the USA, and that's part of the reason why analysts have upgraded it. But $101, this is going to be a sensational stock if it can do it.
Wow, okay. That's already expensive, though. But you've got another $30 there. You could be making a tidy little profit.